Yeah, so welcome back to Mixed Media. We're continuing our hot takes for this week of July 9th. Oh, is Ben in the house? Ben just joined?
Hello.
Oh, there's Ben. Yeah, there's Ben's voice. We'll actually start the segment off with Ben instead. I'm going to pull this one off the screen. Sorry, person. I'm going to pull Ben in, and we can be reunited as a large team again. In the meantime, how was your travels, Ben?
I mean, the drive back was eventful, driving through the tropical storm. Overall, it was a nice trip, despite the weather. I tried listening to some Haydn this week on, not really John Williams' recommendation, but, all those quotes from John Williams we were talking about last week.
How'd that go?
It's interesting. I mean, he wrote a lot. Like I said, 104 symphonies. So I listened to like 3, from his like the 40s to 50s range, and he's a really dramatic composer. I feel like he probably could have been a good film composer. He would have not had to not write in like a rigid style, but I think he had a sense of drama and action.
Interesting. Does it make sense why John Williams cites him as an influence, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think just in terms of like I said, like the drama in his music, it's pretty evident.
Interesting. Study is fun. All right, so I'm ready. So here we are with Ben's hot take. Okay, so give us the lowdown, Nathan.
The original post was asking a question. It asked, what's an idea about music that you had that you eventually realized was wrong or ridiculous or something like that. So this was a reply that says, this is more low-key, but you reach a certain age and you realize how pointless and ridiculous it is to hate on any art you don't like. There are way more things that I love to expend any negative energy on. There are way more things that I love to expend any negative energy on things I don't care for. All right, well, it's a bit wonky sentence, but you get the point.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a general question, not just about music, obviously. Hate in general, like, I don't think I hate anything. I mean, I can think of things in the arts that I don't like, but, and it's probably okay to say, like, a comment like, man, that piece is, I don't, it's not well constructed or something, but to like actually, I don't like go out and say you shouldn't listen to X, Y, and Z. It's really terrible stuff, and like rant about how terrible things are generally. So I concur with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Mr. What's his name? Mr. Z13, if that's how you're... I made that up. CR8Z13. You have a concurrence. There you go. Okay, so let's do a movie one.
Okay, so this is about the film The Tomorrow War, which I don't know what that is.
It's a recent release.
So he starts off by saying, for the record, I thought this movie was good. Like 7 out of 10 decent, well made, not amazing, but solid good. But my point about the film is that I think quality is somewhat irrelevant. This movie made me feel so detached from the online film community. It was getting a real thrashing, so I went in with low expectations, hoping to be entertained for a couple of hours with something pretty forgettable. And while I ended up enjoying, I found myself getting increasingly annoyed with all the criticism. It's a creative action blockbuster that has a lot of climate change awareness and pro-science messaging, but people are railing against it because they thought the characters and or story was generic. I feel like people really need a reality check. And the people that made this film have done more to affect positive change in the world than 99% of people do in a lifetime. They're actually trying to use their voices and platform for something worthwhile. I can't imagine a better use for blockbuster filmmaking than to glamorize these themes to a mass audience and bring real-world issues into more digestible context. The point isn't that these elements inherently make the movie good, but that something like this should be praised for its intentions more than it should be torn down for disappointment on artistic level. I think it's generally embarrassing that people are giddy to trash and dismiss a movie like this. It highlights a selfishness and an entitlement in pundits that I haven't read a single review that says what they're trying to do here is pretty cool or admirable. I'm a big proponent of films as creative emotional expression, but I am not so arrogant to think that my artistic satisfaction is more important than issues going on in the real world. It doesn't mean that there can't be fair discussion about its shortcomings, but there are things worth recognizing in a film besides originality.
Wow.
That was some garbage.
I thought that was an interesting opinion. I don't know the film at all. Like I said, I never heard of the film, so nothing about. I'm not reflecting on the film itself, but I think the sentiments the person is expressing could be understood without knowing the film.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know anything about that movie either, so I'm not going to comment on that. But man, you couldn't get opposite to me more or better than this person's diatribe. The first thing I'll have to tell this person is that I think you're probably the arrogant one. I'm sorry, but I think you're probably the arrogant one. It kind of goes into the sort of propaganda. We have an episode where we talked about propaganda for a little bit. But it's like when you get into the territory where you're like, the message matters more than the art, even though you're trying to consume an art form, it gets a little interesting in terms of the merits of said art that's created. There's nothing wrong with messaging. I have no problem with messaging. It's not even the particular messages of this particular film. I don't really care. The problem is that you're saying that you would literally ingest garbage if it agreed with your opinion, which is what your whole diatribe pretty much amounts to. Is as long as it agrees with my opinion, I'm going to praise something that I think even in my own considerations is not really that great.
Don't forget that it achieves more than 99% of us, though.
Well, here's the thing, though, right? I don't even buy the assumptions that this person made about the efficacy. It tends to be the case, almost always, when you have things like this that are propagandized, people just feel insulted when they watch it instead of, like their intelligence is being insulted, instead of, like, taking you seriously. If you have an essay to write an essay. If you have a scientific journal article to write a scientific journal article. If you have data to present, make an infographic. If you have a movie to make, you're making a movie. You're not making any of those things. If you want to present your point in a movie format, that's great. I love that. Most of my films have strong messages. Like, most of my films, they have a point, and that those points come with a perspective, which are my perspectives, as a writer, as a human being. That's nothing wrong with that, but at the end of the day, it's a film. So pick your medium wisely. If that's going to be if that's going to be what you want to do, I don't know. Maybe you should pick a table instead, or a bar graph. If your if your whole thing is just going to be like something like that. I will also say that this person, there's some activity in the chat. How does acting in a blockbuster with some kind of messaging more noble than 99%? Yeah, I agree. It's like, is this person literally achieving more than people who, I don't know, actually actively do something about the problems of the films presenting?
The people who figured out whatever the problem was that the movie is talking about, right? You would think that'd be more important than like that,
Yeah, I don't know. This to me is like a very go ahead.
If it's just like the fact that they said a message, don't all humans like say something at some point, right? Like, about, hey, this is my stance on whatever thing, right? I guess it's to like a mass audience. It's like, all right, they've automatically done more than everyone else because they've said an opinion to a mass audience. Wow, that is crazy. And also, if you're wondering, it has a 54% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 45 on Metacritic, which is that's a yikes moment.
Yeah, The critic world would even likely to be more likely to boost the film's review status using your same logic. And if it's still at a 54%, I'm gonna venture to guess this movie is really bad. I would tell you, I don't know, maybe the people who are lambasting you have a point. That no one wants to watch a film that isn't a film. That's really what it comes down to. If you want to go consume propaganda, that's kind of weird, but you can go ahead and do so. But I don't blame people for not wanting to do so. And again, that has nothing to do with the views of the film itself. It's just
there are talks of making a sequel
to the Tomorrow War.
Yeah, it says
it just came out.
Yeah, it came out July 2nd, and it says that in July 2021, Deadline, Hollywood reported Skydance and Amazon were in talks about producing a sequel with the same director.
Is this an Amazon movie?
It says Paramount. I don't know if it was in conjunction with Amazon.
It might be. Amazon might be the publisher or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, in January 2021, Amazon Studios was in final talks to acquire the film for around $200 million. And then eventually they acquired it in April. They took a big L. I released it on Amazon Prime Video. I think it was supposed to come out earlier. It got delayed though because of COVID-19. I see.
All right.
I thought you'd like that one.
Yeah. I'm sorry to further lambast you, whoever wrote this, to further the scourging that you're experiencing on the internet. But I'm sorry, I cannot change my opinion for you. Okay.
Hold up. There was a chat message that says, also, how is this movie that unique? Aren't there a bunch of movies about apocalypse / us destroying ourselves / world ending, etc.? I mean, yeah, I guess.
I mean, yeah. There have been climate change movies for like the past like few decades, or in like environmentalist movies for even longer. So, and big movies too. So I don't even see how this movie is particularly impactful for that cause if it's bad. So let's do one for gaming. So I think this one comes from.
This is just the top one. So a person just writes, most game journalists are the least qualified people to review gameplay of a game. I think it's pretty straightforward.
How do you become qualified to review a game? Well, first, I don't know if gaming journalists have to do much to become a gaming journalist. I don't know what is required. I assume they have to be able to write decently well so they can, write a review. But I don't know about if they have to have any sort of credentials in the gaming industry or anything like that. I have no clue. And that's kind of interesting because gaming journalists are the people who vote for in the video game awards. So that would be important, huh? Having qualified judges for that. So what would make them qualified to review a game? I mean, it's interesting, right? Because everyone can have their opinion on a game. It doesn't take a genius to say, oh, I don't like the game because of this thing. But there are definitely certain things you can overlook. Like there are many things that go on in a game that are often overlooked that maybe makes the game worse or better, but you just don't realize it because you're not looking for that because you're just a casual gamer or whatever. You're not like an enthusiast in the game development world. You haven't like you don't know these sort of tricks and stuff like that, so you don't know to look out for them because you're not reviewing games, so it doesn't really matter as much unless you just find that interesting. So I guess it would be useful, to have people who know about this stuff and be like, oh yeah, the composition of this scene was like great, right? Like no one like no non-game enthusiast knows about scene composition, right? But yeah, I actually don't know if most game journalists are qualified or not. I don't know if there's any barrier to entry really.
Not to venture into territory that might get us taken down on Twitch right now, but isn't that the whole Gamergate thing was about? I'm not terribly familiar with the controversy, but I know part of it was about the qualification of game journalists too, right? Like who is making these articles may not actually be gamers as much as they are just journalists.
I remember reading about Gamergate before. I think there are multiple instances that are there's like one main one, and there's multiple things that are often called like a Gamergate like thing. You know, I don't know what it's about. I don't remember.
So that's our second round, I think. Yeah, so 9 more people can get the privilege of being an OG. We'll give you a special role on Discord and might drop you some cool privileges here and there when we're feeling generous to our beautiful and awesome community. This on the right side of... Oh, it's the wrong side. On the right side of the screen is a whiteboard. It's a live whiteboard, actually. And we'd love to give out access to that live whiteboard to, our fans to draw as we speak and maybe write some non-vulgar commentary on what we're saying on the board as we talk. That's my pitch, to not give us money, but to join our communities. So if you were to follow us on Discord, we would shower you with love and thanks and praise, and we'd also start arguing with you. So join our Discord.